Welcome, everyone. Welcome in this fourth nucleus, the universal call to holiness, a bridge between the 17th century spirituality and Vatican II. Today, I would like to take you on a short journey, one that begins in the 17th century and stretches all the way to today. It's a journey of a powerful idea that every one of us is called to be holy. The Second Vatican Council's Lumen Gentium, especially chapter 5, you can find the text on Moodle, emphasized something revolutionary, that all Christians, laity, clergy, married, single, are called to holiness. But this wasn't an entirely new idea. Centuries earlier, St. Francis de Sales laid the spiritual groundwork for this universal call to holiness. We can say that Popes Pius IX, Pius XI, the Vatican Council, and Popes Paul VI, John Paul II, Benedict XVI, even Pope Francis have returned to Francis de Sales to reinforce this idea. Not just priests, not just nuns, every Christian can have a profound spiritual life. This idea, the universal call to holiness, was, however, officially proclaimed at the Second Vatican Council. Francis de Sales, a man ahead of his time. Francis de Sales was a bishop during a time of deep religious conflict. He lived near Geneva during the Reformation, when tensions between Catholics and Protestants ran high. But rather than retreating from the world, he chose to walk right into it, with peace, dialogue, and above all, love. He believed that holiness wasn't just for monks or in monasteries. He framed Christianity not as escape from the world, but transformation within it. It was for every person, parent, workers, king, merchants, even teachers. In his most famous book, Introduction to the Devout Life, he wrote that a person could become holy in the middle of daily life. Holiness is not heroic perfection, but loving God and neighbor in daily life. Each person's path to holiness is unique, but we're all called. This was radical. It democratized spirituality. Pope Pius IX formally recognizes Francis' teachings as doctrine and important for the whole Church. He calls attention to Francis' way of showing holiness as accessible to all, rich or poor, king or shepherds. He calls his writings a pious arsenal for the benefit of souls. In his encyclical Rerum Omnium Perturbationem, written on the 300th anniversary of Francis' death, Pius XI makes a clear statement. Holiness is not just for a few elite souls, it is for all people. He says it's a mistake to think Christian perfection is just for a few. This document becomes a source for Vatican II decades later. He also names Francis de Sales the patron saint of journalists because of how effectively and kindly he communicated truth. Fast forward to 1964. The bishops at Vatican II wrote a groundbreaking document called Lumen Gentium, which means Light of the Nation. The chapter 5 is titled The Universal Call to Holiness. It says clearly, all faithful, whatever their condition or state, are called to holiness. That sentence comes directly from Pius XI, who got it from Francis de Sales. So Vatican II didn't invent the idea, it simply confirmed and spread it. This is basically Francis de Sales' teaching, but now made official doctrine. Chapter 5 reinstates Francis' insight. Every Christian is called to holiness. Holiness is lived through love, charity, service, regardless one's role. The Council emphasized personal responsibility, sacramental life, and the Church as a community of saints in the making. After Vatican II, Pope Paul VI wrote a beautiful letter called Sabaude Gemma. He called Francis de Sales the predecessor of the Council, and he made sure to correct a common mistake that holiness is only for religious people. He said, "It is a mistake to think holiness is reserved for monks or a few saints. It is a duty and a possibility for everyone." Later, John Paul II and Benedict XVI both praised Francis for his message, saying it has anticipated the spirituality of our time. Pope Benedict XVI called Francis the Doctor of Divine Love. And finally, our current Pope, Pope Francis, has brought this message right into our present-day lives. In his 2018 document, Gaudete et Exsultate, he says, "To be holy does not require being a bishop or a priest. We are all called to be holy by living our lives with love. Whether you're a parent, teacher, worker, or student, you can be holy right where you are, doing what you do, if you do it with love." Then, in 2022, he wrote Totum Amoris Est, a letter on the 400th anniversary of Francis de Sales' death. He praises his humanism, joy, and accessibility, and how his teaching fits perfectly into our modern view of holiness. Francis writes, "Holiness is not about doing extraordinary things, but doing ordinary things with extraordinary love." And this is what Pope Francis means by holiness. God loves me and I want to love God back. This means that I have to become, because of this love of God, the best version of myself. This means going against the flow, where I live and with all my talents. I do not become the best version of myself for myself, but I do it because I have to love the others, because in the others I recognize God Himself. God loves me, I love the others, because through the others I can love God. This means holiness. And this means a big change, because if we all live this holiness, something will change in society. Why does this matter for us today? Why is this important for Salesian spirituality? Don Bosco gives a specific interpretation about what Francis de Sales taught us. For the Salesians, this means that we don't have to become monks to be good Christians. No, doing our work with youngsters makes us saints. And for the youngsters, he adapted the call for holiness from the level of the adults to the level of the youngsters. Also, youngsters in their daily life can become holy. Francis de Sales taught that education, daily work, parenting, leadership, all can be paths to holiness. Educators don't just teach subjects, they teach and form people. They participate in the universal call to holiness by shaping hearts and minds in love, patience, and integrity. Be who you are, says Francis de Sales, and be that well, so that you may bring honor to the master craftsman whose handiwork you are. That's what it means to be holy and to become holy, according to Francis de Sales. After this nucleus, there won't be any homework. The only thing I would advise you to do is to read the 5th chapter of Lumen Gentium that you can find on the Moodle platform.